Greetings. I've been contemplating the positions of Venus and Mars in my natal astrology chart, and I've had some aha moments that I want to cast some light on. Stay tuned. This idea of conscious creator is just becoming aware that you can't not be.
Of course you are. Like, I know that you're a spiritual being. Your spirituality is unique to you. It's specifically yours. And you're robbing all the rest of us from having the experience of you.
Yes.
Please don't rob us. What if you are one of those one rare beings that has something very different, very special, and very unique to bring into the world? Once you become fully embodied, fully aware, fully focused, you make a difference. Consciousness underlies everything. You are a creator. You are participating in the creation of everything that you're experiencing. What are you going to do with that?
Okay, so let me first issue a disclaimer of ignorance and say that I am a complete novice when it comes to astrology. It is a very deep, very dense, and very rich science that I perceive takes a long time to sink in. Maybe some people get it quickly, but for me it's taking a while for it all to sink in and to understand the complexities and the relationships between all of the different aspects of one's natal chart. So this is an early epiphany in my experience, and as I contemplate my planetary positions further in the future, I may have to issue some revisions. So for the purposes of this LightCast episode, I'm going to just start by expressing some of the basics of the planets and zodiac signs that I'm going to be discussing in this episode. And so for anyone who's tuning in, if you don't know a lot about astrology, you can join me at my novice level based on this information. So the first planetary position that I'm going to discuss is Venus in the sign of Pisces. So Venus represents the archetype of love, beauty, and harmony. It represents the principle of pleasure and relating to one another. And then Pisces represents freedom from material limitations and a connection to the intangible, the transcendent, and the divine source of life. So you can synthesize what you know about Venus with what we now know about Pisces, and we're basically referring to an attunement of universal or transcendent love. It's about the attunement to the field of universal love, and for me, it's about embodying it and making it manifest in physical reality. For me, this is bigger than emotional love or romantic love. This is the force of love and the universal field of love. Anyone who has felt this love understands that it's unconditional, it is transcendent in nature, and it is universal. For me, it feels like it's simply not possible to not love. If you have that displacement, let me know if those words do this energy justice for you. Do you resonate with that? Mars, on the other hand, is how we assert ourselves and how we direct our energy. It relates to how we behave and what it's like when we're charged or angry or passionate. Then the sign of Libra is about creating and maintaining balance and harmony in relationships. It's about diplomacy, grace. These are key expressions of the Libra archetype. So, Venus in Pisces, Mars in Libra. It's about universal love, diplomacy, and grace. I'm just synthesizing as I go. The Mars placement in Libra to me represents that someone with this placement is passionate about harmony. Discord and conflict and confrontation, therefore, represent a problem. Speaking as someone with this placement, putting out or reciprocating negative energy is really not something that I wish to do. It's not palatable. It's like the idea of it feels like it knocks me off my core stability. It's destabilizing to have to do that. To me, also, Libra is about being considerate of each perspective in a situation. And to me, it tempers what could otherwise be a very powerful and explosive energy from Mars. There's an empathic or empathetic capacity at work here in the sense that before I respond to any negative energy or situation offered, I naturally tend to want to put myself in the shoes of the other and in the shoes of anyone else that may be involved in a situation, and then synthesize all those different perspectives before I respond. And then my response is going to be the best thing I can offer to improve the emotional condition of everyone involved, including myself. So I won't respond in any way that seems less fair or less balanced or one-sided. It's basically, if you bring disharmony into my field, I'm going to consider your perspective as well as my own and then respond in the direction that feels most balanced, that's going to move us in the direction of harmony. I feel that we as human beings can cultivate this capacity to receive negative energy, discord, conflict, transmute it within ourselves in our own energetic field, and then put something back out that's better than what came in. Said another way, we don't have to amplify negative energy, and we don't have to return it. This is about returning non-love with love. Some people speak of passive-aggressive behavior as though it's a negative personality trait, and I totally understand how it could be perceived that way. But from my perspective, it's pretty simple. When it comes to being aggressive, I mostly tend to pass. So just imagine, if you will, for a moment, someone who moves through life attuned to a field of universal love. And this is not something that for me, for Venus and Pisces folks, feels unattainable or distant. It's like it's a tangible energy, a field that is manifest. Then imagine that field being disrupted by someone being mean or hateful or obnoxious to you. A good analogy would be, imagine calm water and someone throws a big stone and there are all these ripples, and it's like, it can be a really strange experience. And I can attest that I will do just about anything to get back to the love. It's so real and so true that nothing else compares to it. So my behavior has been confusing in some situations when I neutralize a situation from my perspective, and then I may actually disappear and just let the situation go. Maybe I was expected to argue or fuss or fight, and most things from my perspective just aren't worth that. I'm just residing in that Venus and Pisces energy, and I'd really love to take everyone there with me. I love the ideal of that, and I've tried. But strangely, it doesn't seem to appeal to some people. It seems some people don't feel it. Maybe they don't have Venus in Pisces. The thing I so want everyone to understand is that there's not much that makes it worth it to me to leave the love. And it seems strange, culturally and collectively, that we would want anyone to leave the love. It's like psychotic. Anyway, I'm going to make a couple of far-reaching connections here as well. So bear with me as I try to weave these connections together, and we'll see how it goes. The first connection that I'd like to make is the phenomenon, these phenomenon relative to the Myers-Briggs personality profiling system, and specifically to the INFJ type, again, because that's how I type. I'm very aware of it. And in case you haven't noticed on this channel, I'm not going to communicate about anything that I don't fully understand or know yet without saying that. So as I deepen my awareness of astrology and Myers-Briggs, I'll become more aware about the other types and the other planetary positions, and I'll kind of continue to weave those themes into the conversation. But for now, I'm going to talk about what I know. So in Myers-Briggs, the INFJ type, their second function on their cognitive stack is extroverted feeling, which is sometimes referred to as the harmony function. They are also known for a behavior that's commonly referred to as the door slam. It's basically when they shut you out of their life, so to speak. It's a very superficial way of explaining it, but I'm going to admit that I have done this. And from my perspective, it's basically when a situation between people becomes really hurtful and really discordant, and the INFJ cannot see any path to harmony and emotional self-preservation. And the thing that a lot of people probably have a hard time understanding is that it's not just as the INFJ doing the door slamming, it's not just your self-preservation. You're actually thinking about the emotional self-preservation of the other person as well. You're thinking about their emotional state too. And because you see, as an INFJ, if it appears to me that my presence in your life is of detriment to you, then I have a problem. Because all I can do is love you. As I said earlier, from my perspective, non-love is not an option. And if you're not feeling that from me, then my well-being is at risk. And if I have repeated experiences of negative energy in the field between us, there's a pattern there, and my Mars in Libra is likely to step in and bring everything into a balance that may look like a breakup. I know this can be hard to understand from the perspective of the non-INFJ, but when a situation gets to this point, the INFJ simply doesn't see any other way. They are passionate about their harmony, and they are committed to it. Mars in Libra, committed to harmony. So, I don't know. See if that connection makes sense to you. If any of you have Venus in Pisces, if you have Mars in Libra, if you're an INFJ, can you weave all of those themes together and see? I mean, I would love to know if someone has done some research about INFJs and the percentage of INFJs that have these planetary placements and then vice versa. I'm maybe too lazy to do that research, but it would be interesting. So the last potentially far-reaching connection I'd like to leave you with has to do with these phenomenon and the evolution of the collective and the collective consciousness. So the future human, I sense, is going to be more and more sensitive to extremes in emotional frequency and vibration. And we're becoming more and more into an age where we are sharing an emotional awareness system. It feels less and less like your awareness is separate from someone else's awareness, and more like we're operating together as a larger system. So with emotions, we will begin to understand more and more that Emotions are like an energy field that we can tune ourselves into or not. So my suggestion for you, for your contemplation, is that regardless of how any of this might be manifesting in your own energy, in your own natal chart, relative to your planetary placements, those of us who are tuned into the frequencies of universal love and who are passionate about harmony represent a way of being that we are all evolving into in the future. Maybe you can even think about the children being born today are already there. Definitely food for thought. I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of the LightCast. Let me know if it resonated with you, or if you thought some of the connections were completely bogus, or if you're really well educated about astrology and you have some ideas to add. I would appreciate it. Until next time, I am, as I said, rising into a field of love and light and harmony, and I hope to feel you there with me. Thank you. See you next time.